Hello, my name is Katrina Bennett, and today we're going to be learning about dynamics and tempo for a classroom of English language learners with special needs. There are a lot of things that you need for music, especially if you're in third grade and you only have 45 minutes. So we're going to be talking about two of the main topics. That of which we have dynamics, which we tend to associate with the volume of something, and tempo, which tends to be the speed of which a song is. And we are only going to be talking about 5 of each of these, and obviously there are quite a lot more, but we just don't have the time for that today. As you can see, these are Italian words because that is where most of our music knowledge is based off of. And so right now we're just gonna know those words, but we'll talk about what they actually mean later when we get to that. So for dynamics, what we're gonna talk about today is just pianissimo, piano, mezzo, forte, and fortissimo. And then for tempo, we have lento, andante, moderato, allegro, and presto. First, we're gonna start learning about dynamics. So what do you think dynamics means? This is when students will raise their hands and answer what they think it is. Now, normally, whenever we think about dynamics, we compare it to what volume is and what the different sounds are. But obviously, with volume, there are many different levels. Just think about when you're in your car and you're playing the radio. If you have it turned down really low or turned up really high, it's going to sound very different. So let's talk about some of them. As you can see here, we have some numbers. And numbers is an easy way to associate it so that you can wrap your brain around it. So if we're thinking 1 is pianissimo, that's like if you're just mouthing a word to someone, like it's super teeny tiny quiet. You don't want anyone to hear you, only the person right super next to you. But then if we go a little louder, we have piano, and that's gonna be like a whisper, so you can hear it, but anyone far away won't be able to hear it. Because in music, sometimes if you have a big group of people, you have to play a little quieter. Or to make it sound like eerie, spooky, you have to be quiet to give that, that effect. But then we have something like forte. This is like a 7 out of the numbers. It's a really good, loud, outside voice. But what if we do something even louder, like fortissimo? Now that's a number 9. Now, for the sake of your ears, I'm not gonna yell right now, but think about how you're yelling whenever you're outside. Now, tell me, does it look like there might be something missing here? Think, what are the numbers? 5. Between 3 and 7, there's 5. And that is what we call mezzo. And that means, the middle. Because think, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 5 is in the middle. And there are gaps between the numbers because there's so many different words for every single dynamic in the whole world. And we're just doing a super basic version of it. And so 5 is like what I'm doing right now, or what you do when you're inside, just chilling, talking to your friends. It's just nice, comfortable, easy. So now we're going to match the number with the dynamic. And then everyone is going to take turns. And there's also going to be a handout that the kids can use so that they'll have like the paper and it'll have the numbers on one side and the dynamics on the other side. And they'll like draw lines to match each of them. And then we'll grade them or do peer grading. And then there's also going to be a verbal activity where one student will be given a number and they will do that. And the other student says which dynamic that is and vice versa. Now, what was that other topic? Tempo. Now, whenever you think of tempo, what do you think it means? Again, this is a time where students will raise their hands and they'll answer on what they think tempo means. usually whenever we talk about tempo in music, we're talking about the speed, the movement of it. But this, with the same thing as dynamics, there are several different levels for tempo. Some of those, like the 5 we mentioned at the beginning, you see here. Now these, you can think about them using the pictures. When you see a turtle, what do you think? Think super slow. Like lento, meaning slow. So every time you think lento, think slow like a turtle. If we go a little faster than that, we have andante. And that is like the tempo of a comfortable walking speed. Not like a running speed or a speed walk, just casual, leisurely, just walking down the street, just a comfortable, easy tempo. Nothing to get you worked up yet. But think at that next picture, a race car. Man, those go pretty fast. Just think about them. They're driving hundreds of miles per hour, zooming past you, but it's not something that's like super crazy or anything. Think it's like a normal car. Sometimes on the highway, cars go pretty fast, but that's what Allegro is. But then what's something even faster? Like a rocket ship? That's presto. Ludicrous speed. It's going so fast. Think of a rocket when it lifts off and it's in outer space. That's so super fast. But, I don't know. I feel like, think about your walking speed compared to a race car. There seems to be a bit of a gap. That's what we call moderato. And that is like, a moderate, comfortable, maybe a little quick, maybe it'll get you sweating a little, but it's nothing too hectic. You're not going to be dropped on the floor. It's so fast. But, you aren't just sitting in your seat. And we can compare this to mezzo, both starting with an M, both meaning the middle point. And now we'll do another exercise. This again is where students will have a paper with pictures of the things, or it'll say like the word, like cheetah, rocket, and they'll do the same thing. They'll match the picture to the word. And then we can do another thing where within the classroom we can have students, one will have like the word, and then the other student will have to try and act it out. It's like a fun little charades game. But this is also something that we can do with listening activities. And we listen to pieces of music and then we identify, oh, this feels like it's this tempo. But for now, that's everything. And now you know the basics of music. And then the students are going to be sent on, they're going to have those papers that they can do, the group activities, they're going to have those listening activities, and then they're also going to have like a take-home assignment where they're going to go throughout their house and find different things that make, different levels of sound or different tempos, and they'll just write them down or record it. So if your fridge makes a hum, that might be pianissimo. But then say you're watching a, football game and someone's screaming, that's fortissimo. But then if they look at a clock, that's lento because of the second hand. Or if they have like a hamster running on its wheel, that's probably moderato. And so they can do stuff like that at home to to exercise the stuff that they learned here and apply it to real life. And the whole point is just for them to learn what it means to know those things.